Is that better? No, no audio yet. No audio. Can you guys hear me now? Somebody let me know if you can hear me.
Well, I got it open over here. I don't hear anything. Here we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, it's really, really strange. So I'm going to have to... Okay, Cindy, let me know that you can hear me. Thank you so much, Cindy. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Chi, what's going on? Chai, if I mispronounce your name, please don't kill me. You know how bad I am with that. So, yeah, the music is from our friend, hey, Daniel. Thank you. Much better sound now. Thank you very much. The music is from our friend Johnny Hill over at the House of Public Discourse, and he's setting up a radio station where he's going to play some old school hip hop. Thank you, Chi. Thank you very much. He's going to play old school hip hop, old school R&B. If you're into that kind of thing, we sure are. And he's going to have progressive talk shows like ours. So this is what we do in the progressive political world. We connect with each other and we help each other out as we're trying to not just connect and support each other, but also to spread information. So please look out for notifications about the full launch of WHOPD, House of Public Discourse.
And speaking of notifications, we would like to ask everyone out there to click on the icons and stuff and get notifications for when we're going on live or live stream. We got some events coming up, and so we'd ask that you get notifications so that you can be reminded when Coffee Curtain Events and Politics is doing our thing.
Yep. So speaking of events that are coming up, on April 29th is the March for Climate Change. The Climate March is going to occur on April 29th. We just found out today, we are so excited about this, we really are like geeked out about this, that our church, Plymouth United Church of Christ, is going to participate in the Climate March. Woo-hoo. And I mean, we got a banner and everything. I think the banner says "Be the Change." I think that's what it says, pointing to the idea that if we call ourselves Christians, we're supposed to be the change that Jesus wants us to make in the world. I'm so excited about this. So, and then on top of that, our friend, our personal love bug, Sandy, Sandy Shellis, who, if you are familiar with Sandy Shellis, you know that she and some other friends have started Environmental Coffee House, an amazing repository for information about everything environmental. She's coming down to D.C. from upstate New York. She is driving 5 hours down to D.C. to stay with us to participate in the Climate March. And not only that, this is going to be such an awesome weekend. Our friend Keir Hardy is coming down too for the day. And our friend Pete Perry is going to be hanging out with us too. We're just going to have a hella good time at the Climate March this coming Saturday. And we're going to live stream from it. We're going to have some live streams for you. Going to have some interviews, we hope. And it's just going to be an amazing day. So, that's the stuff coming up. Let's talk about the stuff that's happened this past week, though. Because it's been really, ever since Trump has been elected, every week has been like a WTF. Like, what is going on in life right now? So you were just telling me before we came on Hun, about pending government shutdown.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Well, but you were just talking about, tomorrow marks Trump's 100th day in office.
Has it been 100 days?
Yeah. I mean, man, wow. I mean, talking about, and right now, as it stands, he has the lowest approval rating of any president. I think that goes back to 1945 or something like that. But he has the lowest approval ratings for any president within their first 100 days. And from the looks of things, it looks like now, let me add the other side of that, because we are fair and balanced. The other side,
oh God, not fair and balanced.
So what happened is that Trump's base, now the people who got him in there, his approval ratings with them is still at 95%. 95% of the people who voted for him said that they would do it all over again.
All 62,000 of them.
All 62,000, exactly. But yeah, so anyway, Trump, as we know, despite what he says about having the most successful start of any presidency, we know it to be something else. And from the looks of things, I mean, this guy, he's just not, he's just not willing to do the right thing. All right, so we have a story here about Trump's push for border wall threatens to cause government shutdown. This is from The Guardian, and it says, looming above Washington as Congress and the White House attempt to avert a funding shutdown in only 5 days' time, Donald Trump's central campaign promised to build a wall on the Mexican border, threatens to bring the U.S. government to a halt this week in a national display of dysfunction.
Wow.
On Sunday, even White House officials expressed uncertainty about whether the president would sign a funding bill that did not include money for a wall, which Trump has promised since the first day of his presidential campaign. Quote, "We don't know yet," said the White House budget director Mickey Mulvaney on Fox News Sunday. He said, "We are asking for our priorities." The president himself waded into the negotiations on Sunday, holding out 2 sticks and no carrot. Quote, and this is what Trump is saying, quote, "Obamacare is in serious trouble." He tweeted, "The Dems need big money to keep it going. Otherwise it dies far sooner than anyone would have thought. The Democrats don't want money from budget going to border wall, despite the fact that it will stop drugs and very bad and there's 13 gang members."
Very bad hombres.
Suggesting he would accuse Democrats of being soft on international crime. But Trump also retreated from a related pledge to the American people that he would make Mexico pay for the wall, which is estimated to cost billions. Eventually, but at a later date, so we can get started early, Mexico will be paying for the badly needed border wall, the president tweeted, without offering a plan line. Without a deal, funding for the government will run out at midnight on the 28th of April, Trump's 100th day in office. The Secretary of Homeland Security, okay, that wouldn't be tomorrow, but it'd be sometime this week.
So we averted disaster so far.
Right. The Secretary of Homeland Security, John Kelly, told CNN's State of the Union on Sunday he suspected the president would push for the wall. He'll do the right thing for sure, but I suspect he'll be insistent about the funding, Kelly said. The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, one of the most aggressive anti-immigrant voices in Trump's administration, also declined to describe the president's priority. He'll make those decisions, Sessions told ABC this week. "I'm not engaged in the budget negotiations." The Attorney General admitted that Mexico would probably not cooperate with the demand to pay and suggested that trade measures against Mexico could create the revenue. Although the GOP controls Congress and the White House, Republicans from border states and districts have resisted the wall as an expensive measure with limited benefits. Democrats have vociferously, see, I got that, opposed it. Thank you, Camden Public School, calling it foolhardy and ineffective. Kelly has said a physical wall alone will not do the job, according to an internal department report acquired by Reuters. The wall will cost about $21 billion. The White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus, suggested Republicans might be able to obtain some of the money under the cover of general funds for border security. "It'll be enough for us to move forward through the end of September for us to get going on the wall," Priebus told NBC's Meet the Press. All 3 administration officials said they hoped the government would not grind to a halt, potentially costing the U.S. billions and stopping health, safety, and veteran benefits. But of course, Sessions said, but it won't stop war. Sessions said
That's right.
Sessions said he can't imagine Democrats would refuse funding or what he called a down payment on a wall that can end the lawlessness. Mulvaney, meanwhile, attempted to broker some peace, saying Republicans would be willing to continue health care payments and to the Affordable Care Act should the Democrats grant more aborting funding. That sounds like extortion to me. "I don't think anybody's trying to get to a shutdown," he said. "A shutdown is not a desired end, it's not a tool, it's not something we want to have." Trump's threats did not appear to faze Democratic leaders because they don't oppose anything anyway, who watched last month as Republicans failed to make a deal within their own party on repeal and replacing Barack Obama's health care reform. It's a political stunt, an obsession for the president that should not shut down our government, said Senator Dick Durbin, a senior Democrat in the Senate, in an interview with CNN. Don't put any poison pills into this process. Let's just do our responsible, important work of funding this government. A shutdown of the proposed wall would be the height of irresponsibility, Durbin said. Republicans in Congress also made clear they did not want to risk an embarrassing and costly shutdown and a fight over the wall. Representative Mark Sanford, whom Trump threatened over the failed health care deal last month, told CNN the wall was not worth a shutdown. And Senator Marco Little Man Rubio told CBS's Face the Nation that a shutdown could have very destabilizing ripples around the world. We cannot shut down the government now, Rubio said, noting rising tensions with North Korea and U.S. military entanglements in the Middle East. The last thing we can afford is to send a message to the world that the United States government, by the way, is only partially functioning. And finally, Trump has abruptly reneged on several campaign promises, including to stay out of the Syrian civil war because he doesn't want to see poisoned babies, and to declare China a currency manipulator, but he gets all the stuff from China. But none was so central to his candidacy as his anti-immigrant proposals, which I wish we had when his great-grandfather came over here. Aggressive deportations, a travel ban, and a wall, two of which he has attempted. Jackie's on you.
Oh, so wait, let's get this straight now. When he campaigned, he said that we're going to build a wall. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be the greatest wall you've ever seen. It's going to be bigly. It's going to help immigration and truck crime bigly because, you know, they don't send their best over here. They send their rapists. They send them. Yeah, he said all that when he campaigned.
No, that was actually called the Mayflower. I'm sorry. Bad joke.
He said all that, but he campaigned saying that he was going to get Mexico to pay for this wall. And now that Mexico is like, F you. And the former president of Mexico actually said, no, F you. We're not paying for any effing wall. Now that they're threatening to shut the government down if the government doesn't pay for the wall that Trump said that he would get Mexico to pay for because he's the master of the deal, because all these people elected him because he's a businessman and he can make the, y'all need to sit down somewhere. It's just ridiculous that there is talk about shutting down the government right now over funding for this wall that this guy swore up and down that he was going to get Mexico to pay for. But see, this is how I know that Americans in general have been believing in alternative facts long before Kellyanne Conway said anything about it. All right, so it's just ridiculous that we're having this discussion about a government shutdown again. We'll see what happens in the next few days. Either way, we're paying for that wall. That's just the beginning and the end of it, and that's always been true. So a couple other people have hopped online. Lorraine, what's up? That's our sister. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, Sandy. Hey, Sandy. Hi, honey. Yeah, so from the wall to burning down a Trump poster. Yeah, so apparently in Princess Anne County in Maryland, two black young women, two 19-year-old women, were charged with a hate crime. Listen to me, y'all. They were charged with a hate crime for attempting to burn up a Trump poster. Let me go over to this story because I don't want you to think that I'm lying. I don't want you to believe that. I want you to see it for yourself. Let me hop over here now and show you what I'm talking about. This is from The Hill. I intentionally chose The Hill as a source because way too many people commented when we posted this story on our page, oh, that's fake news because it came from Michael Baisden Live, which is Michael Baisden is a radio personality. But so, yeah, I made sure I got this story from The Hill, okay, which is a very, very reputable source of political news. Maryland teens charged with hate crime for burning Trump sign. Two Maryland teenagers have been charged with a hate crime for lighting a President Trump sign on fire. Two teenage girls are accused of lighting a Make America Great Again sign on fire in Princess Anne, Maryland. The Princess Anne Deputy Chief Fire Marshal Karen McMahon told the Baltimore Sun The reason for charging the two women with a hate crime, I cannot make this stuff up, and I'm realizing how small that is. So you guys can't see what I'm reading. There you go. I hope that's a little better. The Princess Anne Deputy Chief Fire Marshal Karen L. McMahon told the Baltimore Sun the reason for charging the two women with a hate crime was because they committed arson, quote, with discrimination or malice toward a particular group or someone's belief, end quote. She went on to say the intentional burning of these political signs, along with the beliefs, religious views, and race of this political affiliation, directly coincides with the victim. A Princess Anne police officer wrote, let me correct that. The fire chief didn't say that. A police officer wrote that when he filed these dumbass charges. A Princess Anne police officer wrote in documents for the hate crime charge. Both women were released on a $20,000 bond. Now, since this story has broken, the hate crime charges have been dropped, and the two women have they still face like property damage and trespass and that type of thing. Those types of charges. So the hate crimes charges have been dropped against these two women. Excuse me. Let me see. Do they have a picture of the... No, they don't have a picture of the two women in this article. But you know what these two ladies look like. You know they looked like this. You know they did. You know they looked like me. And you know that the people who had this sign up on their property, let me give you a few facts, a little bit of background. So the sign was up in front of or on the side of the property of a gun dealership, which is fine. I got no problem with that. So it wasn't on anybody's like private personal property. It was a sign in front of a store. And the owners of the store said, yes, they voted for Trump, but they put that big old sign up to draw traffic in to their store. They did it to draw attention, to draw traffic, to make money. So these two young women come upon the store. I don't know if they were going in there to buy some guns. I don't know. But that they were there. They saw the sign. They were trying to take the sign down. Okay? And because the sign was affixed to this chain link fence so well, they said, oh, screw it. We can't take it down, so let's burn it up. But because the sign is plastic, it actually didn't burn. You know how plastic is. You get a little piece of it burning, and then a little corner of it melts, and then it stops. That's what happened. The sign was not taken down. The sign was not burned down. No human being was harmed in the commission of trying to immolate the Make America Great Again sign. Nobody's property was really damaged. But these two women, these two 19-year-old black women, were charged with a hate crime for trying to burn up a Make America Great Again sign because, according to the geniuses in the Prince Anne County Police, let me find the intentional burning of these political signs, along with the beliefs, religious views, and race of this political affiliation, justified these two women being charged with a hate crime. Let's talk about that statement for a second. What beliefs and race coincide with the political affiliation of someone who puts a Trump sign up on their property? See, these people can't keep telling me, and by these people I am talking about white people who do this crap. These people can't keep telling me that this isn't about race, that isn't about race, and black people can never talk about race when they want to do something as ridiculous and as awful and as wrong as what was done to these young women, being charged with a felony hate crime for trying to burn up a sign and then throwing the race of the person who supported Trump in there as if that's justification for these ridiculous charges. If as they say, excuse me, none of this is about race, and if race isn't a problem, then why is the race of this political affiliation even an issue? Is there a race of people who are more likely to support Trump? See, if I said that, yeah, it's mostly white people, then I'd be racist according to these folks. But see, they can say that these two women deserve to be charged with a hate crime because they tried to burn the sign down of white people who supported Trump. That's what they're saying. And it is utterly ridiculous. That's the one ridiculous part of these stupid charges. Then the other part is religious views, because the police officer wrote, that the intentional burning of these political signs, along with the beliefs and religious views of this political affiliation. What religious views do Trump supporters have that everybody's supposed to know about? Are we supposed to assume that all Trump supporters, every single one of them, are allegedly Christians? Is that what they're saying? Because if that's what they're saying, then basically they're saying that people who support Trump are members of a cult. Because if the only way somebody can automatically belong to one particular religion and be the target of, or not the target, the only way you can claim political affiliation or affiliation to a political group and automatically be a member of a particular religion is if you're a member of a cult, or if you're like a member of ISIS, or the Klan. I don't know what. It's insane because they don't realize that in trying to justify their really outsized response in charging these two women for basic vandalism. Really, that's all it is. It's basic, plain old vandalism. They've just exposed themselves to be the racists that they always claim they're not. So, we'll continue to see what goes on with this case. But, Daniel said, I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound like a hate crime. If anything, just a misdemeanor crime or property damage. Absolutely. Now, think about it. During every election season, what happens to all these political signs that people put out? They get defaced or they get straight stolen. Yep. Who's ever gotten charged with a hate crime for stealing somebody else's political sign?
But doesn't this just show evidence of how we're moving closer and closer to fascism?
Exactly. That is.
What happened to freedom of speech, freedom of expression? I understand that if this was private property, and I'm suggesting that you said it was on private property. But
the store.
Okay, all right. So that I can understand being charged with, defacing, property, private property or whatever. We have those laws. But again, this is a stretch to be considered a hate crime. And I think that some lawyer worth their grain of salt would seize the opportunity and take this case. And I would urge any lawyer to who see how ridiculous this is to take this case, because if this is allowed to stand, imagine the other infractions that would happen to people who were just expressing, who were just protesting.
Right. Well, we've seen how laws are being used and being manipulated to crack down on protest and protesters. We're already seeing this is just an extension of that. That's all this is. Remember back in 2008, during the 2008 elections, when people were hanging I mean, people weren't just defacing Obama signs. They were hanging Obama in effigy. They were like hanging nooses from trees and making paper mache Obamas and hanging the black paper mache guy with a Obama sign. Nobody got a hate crime.
What about what was it, the Obama with the bones to his nose?
Oh right, the Obama witch doctor during the Tea Party protest. Just no hate crimes for those. But two black women melt the corner of a Make America Great sign in front of a Trump supporting gunshot, and that's a hate crime. Exactly. No, a hate crime is black men and black women being lynched. That's a hate crime. This was property damage. And not even that, honestly. Because like I said, political signs get snatched and defaced all the time. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous that the not only that they were charged with this, but the justification that the fire chief and the police tried to use to charge these two women.
But once again, we talked about this earlier, Jackie, if I may interject, is that we talked about last week about how in this country, black descent has always been harshly punished. I mean, you're looking at a perfect example right there. Two black women, and we talked about black descent on how this country has always been afraid of black descent, and how the punishment for black dissenters have always been extreme and harsh. And we see that even with this example right here. I can safely say that if it was two white women or two women of any other ethnic group, I don't think that it would have been a hate crime. I really don't.
Right. I know it wouldn't have been a hate crime. We live in Washington D.C. and the election is like it's like a major sporting event here. You know, you can't go anywhere in this city without seeing political signs from all candidates everywhere. And people deface stuff all the time. Chi just made a comment, those ladies are 19, they should know better than to mess with someone's property. Look, I get that you shouldn't mess with other people's property. Okay, fine, wonderful and dandy. But these are political signs. And maybe you guys are going to have to remind me to do this in the midterm elections, to live stream what people do to the political signs that campaigns put in the medians and on other people's property during election season. I mean, you see stuff defaced, you see signs ripped up, you see people writing on other people's signs on their lawns. We're not talking about somebody who stole someone's car. It's a political sign. Yes, they should have been charged with something because it wasn't their property. But hate crimes? Come on, that's no.
Well, okay. Well, she also said that the original hate crime charge was dropped.
Right, they were.
So, okay, if they were dropped, then I mean, somebody came to their senses on
that. Yeah.
But still, I mean, again, I mean, we don't want to talk about this, but like I said again, is that black descent has always been something to fear in this country. I mean, even think of going to a charge like that, to me, boggles the mind.
And that's my entire point. It's yes, the hate crimes charges were dropped. I thought I said that at some point in my little tirade. But the fact, just the fact that they charged them with a hate crime in the first place, and then the justification they used to support the hate crime charges, that was just as racist as the hate crime charges themselves. So, you know, they're still out on $20,000 bond, which $20,000, yeah, $20,000 bond for melting the corner of a plastic political sign. Let me stop talking about this story because I'm starting to sweat, and I shine when I sweat. I don't. So okay, from burning up making America Great signs to burning up Bernie Sanders now. Why are we turning on Bernie? Why is it now Bernie so turncoat? I don't understand what's wrong with progressives. Why y'all hate Bernie now? Bernie, at first he was y'all savior. And now he's Judas as far as some of you all are concerned. I don't get I don't even want to talk about what Bernie is doing that upsets so many people, because I honestly don't care. Do you know why I honestly don't care? Because Bernie Sanders is not the point. Bernie isn't the point.
Bernie wasn't never the Messiah. I don't understand why. You know, we seem like people who just lost faith that we found out there is no God. You know, we've been going to church and going to the mosque and temple and all this other kind of stuff all our lives and believing in all this stuff. Then all of a sudden we found out that God doesn't exist, and then we're just losing our freaking minds behind it. Bernie was never a Messiah. He was just a guy who just happened to finally get his 15 minutes of fame, something that he'd been talking about for the last 40 years. And, you know, finally somebody listened to him. That's all it was. People paid attention to him, and he started getting this following. And now all of a sudden, you know, we act like oh wow, the Messiah. He's not the Messiah after all. No, he was never the Messiah. You know, and let's look at it is the fact that he hasn't given up the fight. I mean, he's still within Congress, still doing what he's doing.
Right. And she made Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was you, Chi. That was Shelley. No, neither was Obama. Exactly. Obama wasn't the point either. This is why when we criticized Obama's policies, I got so pissed off at people, mostly black people, but a whole lot of white people who just wouldn't let you say anything bad about Obama. I wasn't talking bad about Obama personally. I was talking about his policies that didn't help a lot of people. So, okay, fine. Bernie Sanders is doing whatever he's doing, thinking that he can reform the Democratic Party from the inside. Let that man be him. Let him live. Good grief. My question is, what are you doing? That's what I want to know. I see on my timeline, and then I have to be careful not to condemn people for what they post online, because people have lives outside of Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. At least I hope y'all do. I seriously hope that the only activism you have going on is not what you post on social media. I swear. I hope you're a little bit deeper than that. But I'm just shocked at all of the posts the posters who are like, oh, Bernie's a traitor. Bernie's a turncoat. Bernie was my man, but now I'm going to have to drop him because he with the Democrat. Look, what are you doing? I kind of knew this was going to happen, because at the beginning of the Democratic primaries, I don't know if you guys remember when I was with another group, and I did a live stream where someone who we have always admired very much, Dr. Ajamu Baraka, who we are going to get on this show again very soon, made reference to the fact that progressives were not honest in criticizing Bernie Sanders for his stance on the bombing of Yemen and some of America's foreign policies. Even then, some of y'all remember that? I'm going to see if I can find that live stream for you. And I want some of y'all to look at some of the comments, because it's the same thing. How could you say that about Bernie? Bernie's a good guy. Bernie's for us. But at the time, Bernie was a supporter of the bombing of Yemen. And the fact that progressives didn't question that was a problem, because it pointed to the blind hero worship that goes on even in the Progressive Party. See, we can't continue to condemn the Democrats because they were all, I'm with her, and whatever else they said about Hillary, whatever other slogan they had, and they didn't pay any attention to Clinton's policies. And her messed up policies didn't bother them. They were just blindly following her. We can't condemn them when we do the same thing. And if your entire focus as a progressive is to hold candidates to this purity litmus test, I'm not saying don't hold their feet to the fire for policy issues, their stances on policies. I'm saying if you are going to abandon them, you don't want to have anything to do with them because they're trying to work with people that you don't like, then, at some point, that's going to happen with every single politician who exists. Because, see, while you and I have the luxury of saying, I'm not going to a DNC meeting because I don't want to work with those people, we can do that. But those are the people who actually have to make legislation. And if they can find people within the Democratic Party who can help them push the legislation that we support through, then I'm not going to be mad at them for doing that. I have always said that. Even though I left the Democratic Party, and I will probably never be a Democrat again, I'm certainly not a Republican. Don't get that twisted. But I'm not going to say to or of Bernie Sanders, he's a traitor, or I don't want to listen to what he has to say anymore because he's doing this unity tour with Tom Perez. I mean, I'm just not that interested in Bernie Sanders. I'm just not. What I am interested in, though, is people, progressives, Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians, understanding neoliberalism. That's what I'm interested in.
But then we also shouldn't be surprised, about this whole unity tour. We also shouldn't be surprised, Jackie, the fact that in the end they all disappoint. I mean, politicians, because the system is built that way. I mean, I don't care how idealistic or how progressive the message is working within the parameters of the system, they all in the end disappoint.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing, that this is why, excuse me, we have to push for third and other parties. Because the two-party system as it exists, it doesn't work for any of us anymore. It really doesn't. That's what I'm concerned about. What are you doing to push the third party closer to political parity? What are you doing for that? Oh, y'all, let's focus on Bernie so turncoat now. Stop. Grow up. Goodness gracious, y'all. This to me is just another one of those fringe issues that too many progressives latch on to because everybody else is talking about it. What else you have to say over there? I see you chomping at the bit. I see you.
No, well, I mean, what I'm saying is that somebody just, I like to give names here. It was Daniel Goheen. Daniel, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. But Daniel said, well, we need to start building up the Green Party. That's true. But at the same time, I'm already seeing the Green Party dropping the ball on that.
Yeah.
The elections are over. The presidential election is over. And where is the Green Party? We just had, in dealing with the black community, we just had one of the largest non-turnouts of black folks in this past presidential election. Not only nationally, but locally also. And this is prime time for the Green Party to canvass our neighborhoods, canvass the other neighborhoods of disaffected people, and start getting them on board. The Green Party cannot wait for every 4 years to get out there and say, here we are. This is our message. We're progressive. We're not like those guys.
Hey, we're the Green Party.
Right,
here
right.
we are.
But what I'm saying is that now the Green Party is blowing the opportunity right now to organize, to build from the bottom up, as Daniel said, and really start building a viable party, and a competitive party for the next election, whether it's local or national. I don't see them doing it. I mean, where they're at. I mean, where are they?
Right.
And this is something that we have to ask Ajamu Baraka, right? When we do have him as a guest, because we need to know what are the plans for the Green Party now that we have this time now in order to build.
Right.
We can't waste this.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that I'm hoping that he will address, because he started a new initiative that I think we shared on this page, but I'm definitely going to share it again. And that's what I wanted to come on here to talk about, so we can support him and we can see where we can push it. Sandy said that the Green Party is having, I saw it, where'd it go? The State Party is having a convention in New York. The New York State Green Party is having, the Green Party is having a convention in New York. There's the comment. So I'm going to see if I can get some information about that.
Well, we need those Greens in New York to come down here, to come out and help us do the same thing.
Yeah, we need to find out what the Greens in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia are doing. Yeah, we absolutely do. And somebody posted, I think it was Ray. Hey, Ray, we see you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we need to get away from this party affiliation business. We really do. Our issues are not Republican or Democrat. Our issues really are not rooted in which party we belong to. The answers to our issues aren't really rooted in which party we belong to. No, the answer or the problems we face are rooted in who has the power and who benefits from us being disenfranchised. And that's all of them. That's all 538 of those people on Capitol Hill. So, all right, so let's see. From Bernie So Turncoat to the March for Science.
Oh, I have that.
You do? What do you
Yes,
have on
I
the
do.
March for Science?
Well, when we opened up the show, you were talking about all of the missteps that Trump administration has been taking so far in this so-called first 100 days. Also, that's noticeable about Trump's presidency is the number of protests that have been happening in D.C. because we live in D.C. So it's been a protest a day. So it's like Trump's first 100 days, there's been already 99 protests or something like that. But that's good. Continue to protest.
Exactly.
But this one just happened a few days ago.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah. Called the March for Science.
Uh-huh.
And so it's an article that I have here that says why people are marching for science. Because, as simple as it is, there is no planet B. That's why. This is all we have, folks, is this Earth. I don't care how many Earths they find out there or out in the universe. They say Earth-like planets. Trust me, this is all we got, this rock right here. So anyway, since thousands of people gathered in the rain Saturday on the soggy grounds of the Washington Monument to turn Earth Day into a homage to science. After 4 years of speeches and musical performances, they marched down Constitution Avenue to the foot of Capitol Hill chanting, "Build labs, not walls." And hey, Trump, have you heard? You can't silence every nerd. The March for Science began as a notion batted around online on Reddit after the Women's March on Washington, which was held January 21st, the day after President Trump's inauguration. The idea snowballed after it was endorsed by numerous mainstream science organizations, which vowed that it would not be a partisan event. It eventually became a global phenomenon, held in more than 600 cities on 6 continents, and cheered on by scientists on a seventh continent, which is Antarctica. Quote, "We are at a critical juncture. Science is under attack," said Cara Santa Maria. Sound like one of them pilgrim boats, right?
I know.
Cara Santa Maria, a science communicator who was one of several MCs of the 4-hour rally that kicked off at 10 a.m.
What does a science MC sound like?
Raise your hands in the air. Show the atom just don't care. And if you believe in climate change, everybody say, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah.
The very idea of evidence and logic and reason is being threatened by individuals and interests with the power to do real harm. She went on, "We gathered here today to fight for science." The crowd cheered. "We're gathered to fight for education, to fight for knowledge, and to fight for planet Earth." She was followed by musician Questlove, who said many people are refusing to follow scientific facts, and he pointed toward the White House. "That guy over there," he said in a whisper. He waved, said hi, and made a fast gesture with his middle finger. And we all know what the universal language of that is, that someone not paying close attention might well have missed. And we're going to cover it in Trump's first 100 days, which I have next, and see why this president is such a danger to those of us who want to want to see a healthier planet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that we had to get the scientists out. It's bad when the scientists protest in support of facts. It's bad when the scientists have to come out of their nerd labs, and I don't use the term nerd as a derogatory term because you're looking at 2 nerds right here. We are 2 enormous black nerds. Just, yeah, all throughout high school, all the nerd horror stories, we both had them. So we're still nerds. But,
except you didn't slam me in the locker. I
can't see that ever happening.
I wasn't the type of nerd that you put in the locker and make wedgies and all that stuff. No, I wasn't that kind. Not growing up in Camden, no.
No. I did.
No, we had tough nerds.
I did cause a little accident in the chemistry lab that was sort of intentional. But anyway, it's bad when the scientists come out of their labs to protest for facts because your leading politicians have made alternative facts a thing, right? But like I said before, Americans have been believing in alternative facts for years, and alternative scientific facts too, because let's remember that it was allegedly science that said that black people were not only less intelligent and less human than white people, but that we didn't really have feelings, so you could sell our children and family members away from us and we didn't care, because somebody posted on their timeline, they live in the deep south somewhere, and they said that what they heard from some of the people they live around was that the science march was just another one of those things from those smart ass liberals looking down on us people who don't understand all that stuff. And as supportive of science and reliant on science that we nerds are, we have to be really, really careful that we don't use our knowledge and understanding to condemn and belittle and condescend to people who don't understand things the way we do. Because let's be real clear. People who don't understand or agree with climate change, a lot of those people just don't understand it. And I'm not talking about the politicians, by the way. I don't, there's no excuse for them. They understand it. They just can't make any money off of addressing climate change. But I'm talking about your regular, everyday Americans. So, we can't, as much as I'm supportive of science and scientific fact and research and scientific advancements that are beneficial to humankind, we have to be honest that science has also been used to hurt people too. We can't hold science up as a god. There were a couple of signs that I saw from the march yesterday that denigrated people of faith because faith is not science. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't use your knowledge of climate change and it being real and scientific fact and stem cell research being beneficial to the betterment of humankind as a way to condemn people who really honestly just don't understand science. Right? Because listen, remember, at some point science was completely fine with letting people die of syphilis in the name of scientific advancement. So I mean,
well,
the march.
Science was also fine mislabeling a whole group of people and saying that they were created especially for their own enslavement.
Right.
And
right.
So we talked about that.
Right. And science also said that homosexuality was a mental disease. So let's be really careful that while we are standing up for actual facts and scientific advancement and supporting the sciences, that we're not using that knowledge to condemn and condescend to people because they don't understand what we do. Science is not a god. It is great. It is helpful. Actual facts are much better than alternative facts. But we also can't harm people with the knowledge that we have at the same time too.
Well, while we're on the environment, I have talked about how what I mentioned that President Trump is, man, something just goes wrong with my mouth when I say that.
What did you say?
President Trump. I'm still waiting to wake up one day and go back to the dimension that I'm from. Like Quantum Leap or something. But anyway, so here's an article about how bad a Donald Trump presidency is for the environment. As we know, he's a climate change denier. He defunded the EPA. Here's another thing too. Let me see. There's multiple reports that the president is going to celebrate Pruitt's eventual confirmation by signing a series of executive orders that will take the EPA out of the climate crisis business. To the logical mind, this is tantamount to issuing an order that the CDC should temper its study of communicable diseases, but the logical mind has taken something of a holiday and apparently has been drunk since the end of January. Trump has vowed, this is where I really want to get to, Trump has vowed to roll back Obama-era EPA actions, including major climate change regulations like the Clean Power Plan and the water jurisdiction rule opposed by many conservatives. One executive order, according to Inside EPA's report, could be aimed at the State Department, suggesting Trump will take a position on the United States participation in the Paris climate deal. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson told the Senate last month that he hopes to stay in that climate pact. Outside of those people who have organized against police violence, and more recently the movement surrounding the January marches around the country, the environmental movement has been more active in more places than any other oppositional force in the country. It has put together a vast and diverse movement mobilized against everything from pipelines to fracking. And we need to give big ups to Larry Hogan, the governor of Maryland, who said that he banned Maryland from being part of the fracking. No fracking can take place in Maryland. Thank you, Larry Hogan. He's a Republican,
and they do something right every once in a while.
Larry Hogan to me is he's a true Republican in my book. But anyway, so he banned fracking in Maryland. So good for him.
Good for him.
It emboldened the previous administration's commitment to the Paris Accords and against the Keystone Pipeline, which in turn emboldened people to take camp on the plains of North Dakota and made Standing Rock a symbol. All of that energy now runs up against, yes, a big, beautiful wall made of special interest and anti-scientific denial. The allies that the movement has in government can do little but slow walk the march into the past for which the majorities are warming up at the moment. Nowhere is the modern reality further detached from the nostalgic past than in the case of coal mining. It is a dying industry caught between the hammer of cleaner energy and the anvil of automation. Now, just a point there. Trump had promised during the campaign that he was going to revitalize the coal industry, knowing damn well that coal is dead in this country. We don't need to export coal anymore. We don't import it. We don't export it. Coal is not coming back, and so that was something that Trump pulled over pulled the wool over the eyes of those people that he promised would bring back, these coal jobs, but they're not coming back. It was dying then. It's dead now. It's not coming back.
Well, wasn't China at one point the largest consumer of coal?
Well, China is the largest user of coal for energy, but even they started cutting back.
Right.
I mean, the Chinese now have started to cut back on their coal usage because they have a much worse environmental problem over there than we do over here. Most of the emissions that is being spewed in the atmosphere right now, a large percentage of it is from China. And the Chinese people just recently demanded from their government that they want them to do something about their pollution problems. In fact, the Chinese government, one government official in China said, "We promise to make the skies blue again." Now, how the hell is that? I mean, things got to be bad when the politician has to promise you to make the skies blue again. My question is, what the hell do the skies look like now?
Make the skies blue again, 2020, China. That's their campaign slogan.
But again, this is all an attempt by the Trump administration once again to cater to these special interests, the pipeline, the oil, the fossil fuel industries. Where, I mean, come on, man, it's the 21st century. We should not be on fossil fuels. I mean, we just shouldn't. I mean, we saw a movie the other day, you and I. Well, maybe not the other day, but we saw a movie recently where it was in Norway somewhere. Matter of fact, it wasn't even a movie. We was watching some news program on Bloomberg. And you got to remember this. The guy was in Norway. And they had a turbine that ran on clean energy that produces more power than a nuclear reactor.
It ran on water.
This is Norway.
It was a water turbine. And that's what blew my mind. I'm looking for my House of Public Discourse link over here. We were watching, I can't remember what the show was. I can't remember if it was Vice or it was another one of those shows where somebody goes around traveling, looking at the technology advancements, in other countries. And they were showing, oh, I remember the part that I really remember that was really cool, was actually much cooler to me than the water-powered turbine, which generated more energy than a nuclear reactor, was the cloud storage facility
for
Facebook.
Right.
In Norway. You know how if you're a computer geek like me, hello, at least a technology geek, you know how you go into the big server rooms in most companies, and it's freezing cold in the server room, and the company has to spend millions and billions of dollars on air conditioning? Well, they don't have to do that in Norway, because it's naturally cooler there, and they use renewable energy to cool their servers. They just use the wind. It's just, and it blows my mind how this country has taken their resources and have invested their resources into renewable energy that has benefited the citizens of they don't have energy bills.
Well, one of the things I just want to make clear is that Sandy just mentioned that they're not totally 100% clean energy. They still a big oil and gas exporter.
Oh,
so they got a little dirt on them. But
everybody's got a little dirt on them, don't they?
But still, they've done a hell of a lot more than we have done, and our economy is a lot bigger, which means we can afford to do even more than Norway is doing, but we just don't have the political will to do it.
We just don't want to. Ugh, we're out of time again.
No, wait a minute.
Wait, you got some more?
Look, I got one more thing that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
This only take a few minutes, but I want to talk about, I don't want to offend anybody, but I just want to talk about the revenge of the white women. The revenge of the white women when it come to Bill O'Reilly. It was one sister in there. But hey,
at the end,
you white women, I got to give y'all props. When somebody harasses y'all don't take no mess. I mean, y'all bring down some big fish, man. Bill Cosby, Bill O'Reilly. I mean, man, y'all women, man, don't play.
Oh, what's the guy from Seventh Heaven? Used to be my favorite show.
Oh my God! I mean, white women even made the NFL bow to their knees, man.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all chicks got it going on, man. I mean, like I said, there was one sister in there who said she was called hot chocolate and all that stuff. But Bill O'Reilly would have never got fired because of hot chocolate. He got fired because of the vanilla wafers.
Stop!
Those white women don't play, man. I'm telling you, when it comes to that harassment stuff.
Oh my God.
We had 47 or more black women in Oklahoma get raped by a cop.
Right.
And it took white women to come in there and be like, no, that's not right. 47 black women being raped couldn't get nothing. They couldn't cause no harm to their car. But when white women heard of that and they went down there, they be like, y'all can't do this. And guess what? We will not stand for it, sister solidarity.
We will not
stand for this. And
what
happened was this cop is doing life in prison where he should be. But you women brought down Bill O'Reilly, the biggest money maker for Fox News. I, for one, am not sorry that he's gone. I think that Bill O'Reilly has done a great harm to the news business. He's done a lot of harm in a lot of places. But man, I tell you what, man, mess with a white woman. My goodness gracious, boy, heads will roll.
I don't have anything to add to that. I don't. Chi asked, are we always on at 5 Eastern on Sundays? Yes, we are. Unless we
notify you.
Yeah, unless, we are out of town or one of us is sick, which you know how it is with married people who can't keep their hands off each other. We're always sick. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, we are usually on at 5 p.m. on Sundays Eastern Time. Share this video. Share the link. Share the link to the page. At the end of this video, at the very, very end of the video, please click on the live notifications button so that when we go live, you get the notification and you don't miss us.
Also wanted to, because we have, I'm going to borrow Wendy's phrase, but we have friends of the show. And we would like for you to also support them.
Yes.
We have Sandy Shoals of Environmental Coffee House.
Yes.
Please go over there, like the page, do whatever Sandy tells you to do. But for real, support Sandy. We do. She's a friend of the show.
Do what Sandy says.
Brick by Brick on Wednesday at 9, which is Jackie's show. We also want to, we have Ray's Corner, Apostle Ray. Ray, I know you're on. Give me the link to that so I can give it to the audience. Ray's Corner Live. It's called Ray's Corner Live. Ray's my cousin, and he's a friend of the show. Been supporting us from the very beginning.
Yep.
Please go over there and check him out. Go on his Facebook page on Ray's Corner Live, and just show him some love, like y'all showed us some love, and we love y'all. So
yes,
we thank you for hanging out with us on this Sunday.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. And as usual, look, these are our opinions. What you mean? Don't start it. What you mean gross? How do you think babies get here? Wait, I haven't had any babies. Never mind. Look, we give our opinions from a uniquely black and a uniquely Luqman perspective on current issues. But we are not the only voices out here in progressive land. We are absolutely not. We really...
We're just the cutest.
We are.
Yeah,
he is.
Cutest,
he absolutely is. And, so we absolutely give a big shout out to people like Tim Black and to folks like the guys over at Let the Madness Begin and Debbie the Same Progressive and Claudia. Why can I never remember her last name? I don't know why I can. I just think of Claudia, the blonde hair, the smile, and the cabin. I don't know what's wrong with me. But you know who I'm talking about. So we have a lot of people, our friends over at Truth Bomb Activists, our friends at in Intelligent Political Discourse. There are a lot of people we get information from, and who we share information from, and who we support. So we are just asking that as people who are working to build an alternative platform of power for people outside of the system, you do the same. So join us next week, same time, same channel in Luqman Nation. Peace. Have a fabulous week.